Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when you're tuning in. I'm Charles D'Angelo, and I believe that it's not an accident that you're here tonight watching my show. Tonight, I'm going to help you start to take charge of your life. What would you think if I said that you're going to learn the very exact strategy, a plan that's helped thousands of people to lose hundreds of pounds each? Some people in less than a year. A strategy that's going to allow you totally to overcome your fears, those self-imposed mental limits, and any history, anything that's happened to you that you've allowed to hold you back from your God-given destiny of health and success. This strategy has enabled my clients' doctors to be able to take them off of medications for diabetes, for high blood pressure, for abnormal lipid levels, for sleep apnea, and dozens more. What would you think if you heard people say that after a lifetime of failed attempts, that they finally learned the secret to eliminating the lifelong struggles of indulging in the very unhealthy foods that they found themselves doing day after day, week after week? Not only losing the weight, but keeping it off for good. Tonight, you're going to meet a person who's lost almost 205 pounds in about a year. He was once so addicted to sugar that he slept with candy in his nightstand. Now, after working with me, he hasn't touched it ever since. These are people that were actually considering ending their lives, but through this program you're going to learn about tonight, it awakened their spirit, and really they began to design their future instead of just going through life hoping things would work out. Can you relate? Does this seem to ring a bell with you? What's their secret, you ask? It's not a new diet, it's not a new pill, it's not a new drug, an herb, a DVD, or some book or a piece of equipment. In fact, it's something that you were born with. It's your mind. It starts all by setting goals, by asking yourself who you really need to become to have the things that you've often wished for. Learning to give positive meaning to the very things, the experiences that might have limited you in the past, because ultimately, it's those meanings that determine the action you're going to take, the habits that you form, and ultimately, the character that you develop and the person you become, the destiny you shape. Tonight, I'm challenging you, you, to own yourself. Take charge of your life by stepping into and seeking out new adventure by being curious instead of being fearful and seeking security. Listen to that little inner voice that made you turn on this station in the first place. The thing that's telling you that a brighter future lies ahead of the things behind you. Now, if you're like the former me, I used to weigh 400 pounds. You might say to yourself, how's this young, fit guy going to do anything to help me? I mean, it's late at night, I'm up, I have all sorts of problems this guy has not a clue about. Listen, I've spent the last decade now focusing and studying the absolute best of what works when it comes to really reclaiming your health from your habits and getting extremely fit, becoming independent of the very things that once controlled your life up until now. I've committed my life entirely to empowering people with the very strategy that you're going to learn from the people that you're watching tonight so they could take control of their mindset and track a path toward the future that really excites them. But I wasn't always this way. I mean, I once weighed 360 pounds. You have to understand, I came from a family of modest means. My father's side all struggled with obesity. In fact, I lost my father at 54 to a massive heart attack after years of neglect. My mother's side of the family struggled with substance abuse to alcohol and other related substances, to say it lightly. So if you were to look at my history, you certainly wouldn't believe that I would go on to lose 160 pounds, totally take charge of my life, and live a life that very, very, very many people admire and want to be able to model. I don't say it to impress you. I say it to impress upon you. If I can do it, so can you. So stay tuned for John, one of my clients, the guy that lost 200 pounds, who took charge of his health with my help, and will share with you the very things you can do too to start to change your future. So if you're ready to really reclaim your health from your habits, pick up a copy of my book, Think and Grow Thin. It's available at my website, charlesdangelo.com, or call my office for a free consultation at 314-495-3228. Welcome back. My next guest is Mr. John Moore. John lost over 200 pounds in just about 15 months. He was a size 54 at the start when he came to see me, and now he's a size 34. He was on about 5 different medications, isn't that right?
Yep.
Right, 5. He was on a CPAP machine. For those that aren't familiar, that's for sleep apnea, where your breathing's obstructed because of your weight. He was able to eliminate that totally, and here he sits, feeling better than ever, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah.
All right, so tell everybody at home, really, what for you made the decision easy, where you decided, okay, I'm not going to live like this anymore?
I had gone to the doctor right before I had started with you, weighing the heaviest I've ever weighed in my life.
Which was?
393 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And blood pressure through the roof, high cholesterol, anxiety, depression. He basically told me I was on track to have a heart attack.
Which would mean what?
Mean death, I mean.
So you really
right.
were associated to the reality that you could very well not live to see your kids graduate.
Exactly.
Those that hadn't already.
Exactly.
Not live to see the grandkids grow up.
Exactly.
I see you get a little emotional
I
about
do,
that.
yeah. I was crying in your office that day. You had provided the tools and a direction for me to go, and that's what I needed to hear, so that's what I did.
So having a plan, having a strategy, having the right foods in place. So you weren't hungry?
No.
Be really, really, really frank here. Were you hungry?
Honestly, no. I bet I eat more food now than I did when I was heavy. Seriously.
At 400 pounds, you think now?
I eat 6 times a day now. I'll bet when I was heavy, there was times I ate once a day.
So the big recommendation that you would give to people at home that are struggling with these habits, would you say it's fair to think of this program as something that's not meant to break your habits, but rather to replace them with more effective ones?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. When I started with you, the results were immediate, which was big for me.
So it fed that success.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So instead of taking 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, we just kept taking steps forward.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So if you're at home and you're feeling like you're on your last leg, maybe you weigh almost 400 pounds like John did, you too can take charge of your life if you're willing to not break habits, but rather replace them with more effective ones. What do I mean? I mean, ask yourself why you're overeating. Is it to fill that emotional void? And if so, if you're willing to embrace a new philosophy, eat more often, the right foods, and do a little exercise, you can achieve everything you've ever dreamed of. Stay tuned for more. So if you're ready to really reclaim your health from your habits, pick up a copy of my book, Think and Grow Thin. It's available at my website, charlesdeangelo.com, or call my office for a free consultation at 314-495-3228. Have you ever suffered a major loss of a loved one? Did it leave you feeling devastated, trying to fill the void with poor choices, trying to heal that emotional pain with physical items like food? Most of us all have experienced the pain that loss comes about when you just can't control something, but it is something that we can control our response to. My first guest, Deb Ross, lost her husband suddenly and spiraled into a terrible, vicious cycle of depressing. She was comforting herself with food, and when she reached a tipping point of almost 300 pounds at her short stature, she realized that she literally couldn't live that way any longer. She reached out to me for my help a little over a year ago, and now 12 months later, here she sits over 150 pounds lighter, living life to the fullest, right? So let's welcome her to the show. Deb, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So let's tell people what really brought you to the point in your life where you decided this was a must for you and you had to take action in your life.
On Thanksgiving Day, I was making my bed, and first time I got wind at making my bed, and I weighed 280 pounds. I didn't have problems before that. I was slowing down gradually. And so the day I couldn't make my bed, I was watching TV, and I seen your program on the news about a lady that had lost 65 pounds, and she was 65 years old.
Excellent.
And I decided to write you a letter that night when I got home. And the things that you said that day was, it's not the turkey that makes you sleepy, it's how you eat the turkey. Everybody eats that one meal all day instead of breaking it up.
So they don't have a strategy, right?
Absolutely.
So they don't have a consistent plan of action, and because of that lack of planning, they end up planning to fail, as a wise person once said.
Absolutely.
So you were making your bed, trying to live life, finding it difficult to get around, and then it clicked. So you came to see me, right?
I came to see you.
Came to my office, and it's famously been said by you, you left my office in tears.
I was crying. Your office is across from Ted Drew's, and I'm like, I'm going to go have me an ice cream. That did not happen.
And tell people why. Why was it that you broke down in tears? Was it because I'm a jerk and I'm mean, or was it because you really faced the truth?
I think facing the truth, finding out why I gained weight on my personal level. Everybody's different. A lot of things led up to that day, and December 7th has a lot of is a day of things happening for me, good things and bad. So, and that was the day I came to see you, and it was like, it was an omen that I needed to come to see you that day.
So what was your biggest waist size?
I wore a size 26 pants.
And you brought those pants, you said, huh?
I did. I brought a pair of size 26 pants. This was the last pair of pants that I had bought. And
now,
that is them.
Look at that. Isn't that amazing? So a size 26, and now what are you wearing?
I wear a 5 and a 6. I actually have bought a pair of size 4s. I don't like to wear them out, but they fit me perfect. It's hard to imagine a size 4, but I wear a 6 very comfortable, and they're loose.
So at your very heaviest, you're almost 280, and now what do you weigh?
I weigh 124, 25 pounds.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now tell people at home, what do you think the real key, since my program isn't about a diet per se. Of course, I always talk about the three-legged stool, having a good, healthy eating plan, having an exercise program, but most importantly, what's missing in everything else that's out there, I think you can agree, and what my program's about is the right mindset. So how important was that for you?
The mindset is number one. I put it up here to succeed. I gave 2013 for Debbie. I gave it to God. I asked him for his help. I went 16 months without cheating. I never ate so much food. When I was heavy, I ate a lot less food. I call it a change. I don't call it a diet.
It's changing your attitude,
it is.
Changing your philosophy, changing your approach, correct?
Correct, and I'm never hungry. I ate a foot-long Subway for 7 months.
And you said your doctor is absolutely ecstatic.
Oh, he is. In fact, I know my doctor has sent people to see you because of my success.
So it's not about a diet, it's all about the right philosophy, all about reconditioning your identity, right? Because
Absolutely.
now you're no longer the woman that can't make it up the stairs. You're the woman that people says she's walking all around Illinois, right?
I walked 3.5 miles on my lunch, and when I first started, I couldn't even walk 2 blocks. And I walked 3.5 miles on my lunch hour in 100-degree weather, and it don't bother me a bit. I love walking.
Excellent. So for anyone out there that's struggling with their weight, if you're sitting there at 250, 300 pounds, or if you just have 15, 20 pounds to lose, Deb is living proof that no matter how long you've been dealing with this, she was overweight for almost 40 years of her life.
Yes.
She turned it around instantly by making a decision. She said, no longer am I going to settle for this standard I had settled for so long. I'm not going to let my history determine my future. So for anyone who's struggling with their weight like Deb once was, if you have 100 pounds to lose, 150 pounds to lose, 200 pounds to lose like Deb did, you can transform the quality of your life instantly. If you'll make a new standard for yourself, if you'll start to really get clear on the goals and the direction you have, the future that lies ahead. Don't hope that things just work out. Actually start to track yourself toward the future that you want. Once you have that mindset, once you have that vision, you have that compelling future in place, don't let anything or anyone deter you from the knowing that you can achieve the very things that you want for yourself if you're willing to pay the price of discipline. Stay tuned and we'll be back with much more. So if you're ready to really reclaim your health from your habits, pick up a copy of my book, Think and Grow Thin. It's available at my website, charlesdeangelo.com, or call my office for a free consultation at 314-495-3228. So if you're one of these people, like many that come to my office, that thinks age has a lot to do with success, I'm here to tell you, you might be going down the wrong alley with that thought. I have Ted Vitale, Father Ted Vitale with me, my friend, my former professor at St. Louis University, who sought my help at 240 pounds many years ago, suffering from hypertension. He had had a TIA, a minor heart issue, and he decided that then it came time to change his life. So, Ted, welcome first off. Talk to me about exactly what was it that made you decide you had to do something different than what you were doing?
Well, I think the health issue is the first one, because I had that TIA or TIE. I had no side effect of it other than fear.
Sure.
And I got on medication for it, and I didn't want to be. And I thought that if I could get, I was 240 at the time, if I could get to 200, 210, my blood pressure would go down again.
And you were exercising when you came to see me.
Right.
So many people are out there and they have a trainer, or they're joining a gym and they're trying their best there, but they're not getting results. So how much do you think of success in my program is dependent on exercise, food, and your mindset? Do you think it's equal? Do you think one plays a bigger part than the other?
I think knowledge is the biggest thing. Well, you have to be motivated to start with. If you're not
Well, you can be
motivated with-
motivated, but if you don't have the right plan, you're a motivated idiot.
That's
right?
the point. Oh, that's the point. No, because I was motivated, but I was ignorant. I didn't know what to eat and what not to eat. I had the exercise never changed. I'm still doing the same thing I did before. But what changed was the eating. And
Excellent.
because I didn't know what was good for me and what wasn't. And
Now,
that's what you taught
let's
me.
back up a bit, because most people have an idea of what's good for them and what's not. You know, a Snickers bar opposed to a chicken breast. It's pretty easy to see what's advantageous to do and what isn't. How much do you think those reasons underline the strategy? In other words, the reason you decided, wow, my health has become implicated because of my choices. How much do you think coming up with those compelling reasons plays into a person ultimately reaching their goal?
Well, if I understand your question, I think it's essential. Because the first thing is you have to have a reason for your own survival, to use some strong language. You ought to want to live.
For you?
Yeah.
For your family?
Yeah, but I'll push that. I'll say not for your family, for you.
So what would you recommend to someone at home that has been in that pattern for many years? You're now 71?
72.
72 years old. And you corrected this in your mid-60s. So for a person that's sitting at home that's at that age where they feel like they've tried so many different things, what's different about working with me and working this program than everything else?
Okay, it would be the same in a sense as Alcoholics Anonymous, if you could use that analogy, because for one thing, the person's has to be committed. And when they're committed to getting help, they need somebody to talk to.
So having someone on the outside who's been there.
Yes,
I weigh
but also
360
has
pounds.
knowledge. And as a program that has a discipline in it, that's a doable discipline. You can't ask for a miracle. You've got clients that are going to come in here that lost 200 pounds. That is